I was born in a slum called Morocco 40 years ago. Yes, March 11th, 1977. I never knew I was going to turn out like this, but you know, posterity brought me this far. I happen to be Nigeria's most versatile entertainer, cream of comedy. I bring flavor to humor. I have an award in every field in entertainment. Not by my doing, but then, as you can see, plaques in comedy, plaques in music, plaques in writing, plaques in movies. And I'm a father with 2 beautiful kids. I'm married to a very wonderful woman. I've been doing this for 20 years. And it all started when I was in school in University of Lagos. My name is KOFFI THA GURU. They call me KOFFI THA GURU. This is how I got here. I was actually born in very, very wonderful circumstances, if I must put it that way, because a lot of people keep asking, why KOFFI? Where did KOFFI, the name, come from? Is it a moniker? Is it something you just picked up and then you decided to just play with it and use it as a stage name? No, I was born Sulaiman Ayinde Kofi Emmanuel. My father's family Muslims, my mom's family Catholics, by the way. My grandfather from the Togolese end had come all the way from Togo to hustle the Nigerian space and brought along his maiden wife. He was a great washman. Papa, he was a great washman. So if you see me washing at some point, it's because it flows in my genes. I was well schooled. I started primary nursery school at Adrao, then Kuramo Primary School, after which I was booted out of town because I was becoming naughty to Ijebu-Igbo. I started at Abusio Dumare. Then I ended up at Molusi College, Ijebu-Igbo. So a bit of Ijebu in me is because I grew up in that environment. By the time I came back to Lagos, university hustle, I put in for pharmacy. Reason being that when I was in GSS 3, I lost my aunt, Veronica Taye Johnson Foley, wonderful woman. She was the one who maybe partly made me realize the need for entertainment, because when she was young and used to hold me by the hand and visit her boyfriends, I would hear a lot of sounds in those boys' houses. No, not that sound, but real Michael Jackson sound. And so I used to pick a lot of the sounds there, and she encouraged me at some point. I remember when Shino Peters was blazing in 1989, and I went to one cousin's party in Makoko. You know, she encouraged me to win the dancing competition. So when I lost her, I hurt deeply and vowed unto myself to go study pharmacy so I can heal people. So I ended up in the University of Lagos to study chemistry. Ironically, I did not do anything else but this from get-go. When I got to school to study chemistry, fate had it that a couple of the friends around me noticed that I was just this naughty, jolly good fellow. And one of them, Shola Oshibelu and Scholar Agbawo, Scholastica, they just looked at me one day whilst they were cleaning the University of Lagos library. During our holiday breaks, we used to do work study, just earn a little change instead of just wasting your time. So they looked at me and, guy, you're wasting your time, you're wasting your talent. Anything my friends wanted to do in that circle, they would always just want me around to make them happy. Then Shola looked at me, guy, go and join Theatre 15. That's where you meet fellow, you know, crazy people like yourself. I was like, Theatre 15? I've never heard of that before. And they were like, yeah, a theatre group that, I was like, fine. And Shola was always on point with information. Scholar was that, she was a scholar. So I went in search of Theatre 15. And from there, I did the first audition. I wasn't good enough. So I asked my friend Bayo Yini, what did I get wrong? Didn't I act as I was asked to act? I did the madman role, I did it, and it was like, no, you know what? When you come back for the next audition, just tell them you want to be a part of this family. So the next audition I applied again, I paid, I saved up money, paid, bought the form, filled it. The panel were the same people, Kayode Peters, Biola Loba, Bumi Davies, and some other people I didn't know at that time. And they were like, you again? What do you want? See, guys, I'm not here to waste your time or do any degree. I just want to be a part of this family. That was the word, the magic word, family. They were like, okay. Now, normally when you do your auditions as a newbie, you go to that side. after auditioning, they say, okay, go and sit on that side. For the first time, after my audition, they say, okay, come and sit behind us. So my journey started from Theatre 15, where I started learning the rudiments of theatre, the craft of stage, music and dance. I started as an assistant sound man. Some productions later, I became the sound man. From becoming sound man, I became the music and dance director, choreographer. From that, I became a waka pass, a cameo role appearance that blew everybody's mind. Then my directors were impressed, started giving me small roles that were the highlights of the play. The small role that just came in and went out, and people were like, who is that guy? And so gradually it started. Then before school, I had been doing a little bit of emceeing at little gatherings at home with my friends, parlor parties. So it was only natural that when we resumed school, my friends would force me to MC the orientation programs and all that. And people know, oh, this guy is funny, he's good. So I started becoming an MC officially in my department and faculty. Now, joining that with Theatre 15, it was only natural to be a stand-up comedian before the play starts. So the likes of TA would have done that. Teju also started doing that. I started doing that. Wale Gates followed. Jibade Yemade followed. So it was the norm to always open up the show before the show started with jokes. So I would go on stage and do that. And then I was already earning money as an MC for orientation programs. So other departments would come. And there was this lecturer then that people feared a lot in my department. I was the only person that ever made her laugh. And the whole, it didn't matter though, I still failed her course. So I got a very good soft landing around school. And by my third year, I was already earning money. So I was already settled by the time I was in my fourth year. So I didn't need to do any other thing after school. After school, till date, I don't even know where the certificate is at, because from my second, third year, I was already on this path. I can't exactly place my first earning because little bits of here and there. But the memorable ones, I'll give you two. One of the memorable earnings I had as an MC, one of the technicians in our department was so impressed by this guy that was, always making people laugh in the department. Mr. Bassi he was. And he vowed that his wedding, I was going to MC it. Grown man, so I felt, how could a grown man just be getting married? But then, so it was in one school compound in Bagada, phase 1. And we got there and I found out that indeed he was not a young man like I thought. His bridal train were his, I think, 2 strong elderly boys and his 2 grown girls. And the payment I got was a nylon bag of a pack of sugar, Morning Fresh, and it was a thank you nylon of a St. Louis sugar pack and all those things. And a part of me was so happy and joyful, knowing that the man could not afford, but that he believed so much in me that he could give me the opportunity, a young boy, to MC his wedding, of grown people, of that kind of ambience and atmosphere. I was just in school, MCing for kids, but then he believed in me, his grown wife, his grown self. And then Lara Just Weddings gave me my first, let me say, most exposed gig. I was still in school doing those things when she gave me a job here on the island, Ikoyi, a wedding. And the fee was, we negotiated from, I think, I was bold enough to say, no, I can't take anything less than 20K. As at the time, I was earning probably 3K or 4K in school. But I was bold enough to say I can't take less than 20K. She was just starting off her own business too, and she was like, the client didn't even pay me that much. We kept arguing back and forth. We settled for, I think, 18K. Eventually, I think I got 15K, so Lara is still owing me 3K from year 2001 or year 2011. So she knows she's owing me 3K, but what's the point? The point being that the first 10K she gave me, was it 12K as, advance, gave me the same card that I still used to earn till date, that number that people from way back still call. And I bought my SIM for 10,000 naira. So please, mind how you talk to me on that SIM. I didn't buy it for 150 naira. I bought my SIM 10,000 naira. Big boy It took a while to get a phone to put my SIM, but I bought the SIM. I got home, I borrowed my dad's phone to test the SIM. Nobody called the line, but I noticed that the SIM inserted, and then I removed it. Then my journey started after Bumi Davis paid me with a Siemens Red iPhone. He couldn't pay me for the services rendered as an actor in one of the plays, because we're always doing plays here and there, KP, Bumi. So instead of paying me cash, Bumi paid me with a phone his uncle had given him on his return from a trip to Yankee or wherever. The phone served and gave me opening and leverage, because as at that time, how many people had a phone? So I had a SIM, 10,000 naira, and a Siemens whistle phone, Red Eye. That was my ringtone then, and the journey started. I still see myself heading somewhere, and that big break hasn't come. Yes, I've become a family brand. I've become, you know, a renowned person. People know me here and there. But for me, I have a mentality. You know, it's a spiritual thing that I feel the moment you feel you've achieved your biggest thing, then you're done. Every day I wake up wanting to outdo myself from yesterday. So the biggest platform that most people aspire to be on are not the same platforms I want to be on. The most prominent options that people took then are not the options I took to becoming a household brand. So for me, some people took the Night of 1,000 Laughs route. I didn't take that route. It was just a subtle way of getting into people's minds with the little things I was doing that were original and real. And for me, it was those little things that became a big part of me in the presence and mind of people. I didn't exactly do one big thing. I was not exactly on any big show. When they were doing Humor on Ice, I was never invited. Laugh Patterns, I did one episode. The major things that most guys used at the time to rise to stardom, none of those options were offered to me. The only other person that gave me a few minutes and openings here and there was Tunji Shotimiri. Once in a while on his show on AIT, just give me like 2 minutes, just say something, do my thing, and then those were the little options I had then. But like there was this major big break, I've never been given that opportunity. And do I really want that big break that comes and then let me just be doing these things that I love to do. Unlike most people, the start-off point was just theater productions, you know, stage plays and that. And when we were in school, we were just doing stage plays. You know, KP had his own production, Cypress. Bumi Davis then started a company called Afrotainment, where we would take stage plays to the Muson for his corporate clients like GT Bank. So from that point on, you know, we're now leveraging on the opportunities therein, you know. And with that, I was still doing my little comedy gigs in school. But prior to that, the major breakout for people to notice me was the campus sitcom we were doing called Twilight Zone. People had seen me there as Dauda. But I didn't want to be, you know, Nigerians with cliche. You know, once they see you as a character, they want to keep you as that character. Mr. Latin, Baba Suwe, Mr. Ibu, Osofia. So I didn't want that for myself because I wanted them to see a corporate end in the end. So I needed to break out from that. So as I was doing the comedy in school, as I was doing my theater drama, I needed to establish myself a bit further. So I started out with the music. My first single, Mumu, caught people's attention. But when Aroma came out, it was a monster hit. It just took everyone unawares, and everywhere, you know, everybody just loved it. So anytime I stepped out, hey, Aroma, Aroma. When I go to shows, people could now see the different elements at the same time. Oh, this is the guy that does Dauda on Twilight Zone. So it was no longer, because at some point at a show I went, people introduced me as Dauda, and I told the master of ceremony, no, I am not Dauda, I am KOFFI. I don't want that. And it got to a point that to further establish that I was that good, my girlfriend, now wife, insisted that I must go for the Night of 1,000 Laughs audition of 2003. Because at the time I was Lord in Unilag, you know, I was the, you know, but I wasn't stepping out of school until at some point Benga Denka had a show at Sheraton and invited me. So yeah, I've been hearing about you, come do your thing. And so when we went to that Night of 1,000 Laughs, we were about 34 people auditioned, and I was one of the only 4 that qualified. So at that point, I started filtering into the system, and it was established, okay, this guy, you know, knows his craft and he knows his trade. At some point though, it was becoming more difficult to establish the brand via music. Most of the Alaba marketers would not even give you a listening ear, and the few that you could approach did not believe in selling the music. So I had to take it upon myself to go all out, produce my music, and distribute it. I practically went hand to hand selling my CD around. I would go to shows, take my CD. In fact, Jimmy Jat at some point would insist that I should perform Aroma on stage. And I would say, no, I don't want to be seen as a musician. I want to be seen as a comedian that sings. I won't perform music. I'll come on stage. You can use my music to introduce me, but I'll crack jokes. Then I can sell my CD. So that was how I started establishing myself gradually. And then a few years later, people would even beg for the Aroma CDs, KOFFI, that song. Then I was begging them to buy, but now till date they are still begging for the song. So for me it was just grace that I took the little opportunities I had, and then I was able to make do with it. And I had a very good partner who supported me. My woman was there from day one. She was the reason why I didn't have to look elsewhere for support. There were times that you might have felt discouraged that maybe the money wasn't coming, but what I didn't know that was the little that was coming, she was saving it, and one day she just declared to me that this is how much you have. And I was shocked. I had enough money to rent an apartment. In fact, my first show at Mooston in 2004, which was produced by Biola Aloba, the other partner of KP from Cyprus, ran into trouble. He just took it upon himself that, come, KOFFI, I need the world to see what you are. As in, beyond Unilag, I need them to see that, man, this guy is awesome. I want to produce your show. I said, okay, fine, do it. He rented Mooston. And then he spoke to the different people, Style Plus. I had big acts on my platform. And a few days to the show, his major sponsors backed out. And it was like, KOFFI, there's trouble, I'm going to have to cancel your show. I said, what's the problem? He said, I was hoping these people, and then at the last minute, I said, how much is the, he now told me. I just, okay, let's go to the bank. He was shocked. Because I was the Smalley in the circle, so he was shocked that this Smalley has money like this, like for real? You have this kind of money? But I didn't tell my girlfriend that I've spent our rent money. Because we're supposed to get an apartment with it. So that's how it all started. I'm a jack of one trade, entertainment, and I'm a master in everything I do. I'm passionate about everything I do. The reason why I'm able to do all of this easily is because of the ability to write. So if the inspiration comes about something, I quickly grab a paper and pen. When the things come, they either end up as an idea for a joke, a song, a drama piece, wherever it goes to. So that's why I'm able to do these things easily. It's not like I'm that Superman or something, no. But the ability to put pen to paper all the time. Once the idea comes, you put it down. Inspiration comes from everywhere. Sometimes, the few people that are very close to me know that if they buzz me at 3 a.m., I'm awake. Only few people know. Most 3 a.m.s, especially in my writing season, I'm always up at 3 a.m. The spirit just wakes me. Yeah, get up, you have to write. So the process I go through for writing is to allow my air at 3 a.m. descend on me with the thoughts. So if I have an idea in the afternoon, I just put it down somewhere. I go about my business. But at 3 a.m., the spirit says, yeah, wake up. Some 3 a.m.s, I'm just looking at the laptop. I'm just looking at that idea, and I go back to sleep. Another 3 a.m. comes and says, okay, this is what you're supposed to write. For me, the processes are just take advantage of the little time around you and make the best of it, continuously putting things down. So then when it goes to production, music takes different stages. You have to compose your thoughts, the lyrics, the words, then the sound before heading to the studio. Most people just go to the studio and tell the producer no, but I go to the studio. Most of the songs that you hear from me are actually produced by me. But because I will not take the glory for the instrument and all that, I would rather the producer who played it takes the shine, because I'm already shining as the songwriter. So most of the sound is here. In fact, some of the songs you've heard me sing, I've seen the video before the song. The song came from the video in my head. Because sometimes the process comes from the reverse. You can see the picture. The movie I'm shooting now, I can see the movie. The script is here, the synopsis and the outline is down, but I've not put the scenes together as a script. Okay, my journey exactly hasn't been a very smooth one, but I chose not to paint ugly pictures. It was my choice. There are tough times. There are broke times. There are times that I've been very broke and the public just sees me as this guy that is well made and settled. There are times I've paid bills that didn't concern me. So for me, the little frustrations and challenges, I just jump and pass. I laugh it off because it is what I have signed up for. Some people find it very frustrating to write autographs. They find it very belaboring to take shots with their fans. First things first, it is what we signed up for. Every vocation has its own ends, merits and demerits. I'm the one who said I wanted to be this person. They are the ones who made me their star. If they did not buy their radio and their TV, and they did not buy their data and they don't see me, I am nobody. They made me this person. So it's only right that when they see me and they want to celebrate me, I must reciprocate by celebrating them. So it might be frustrating to some people, but I have signed up for it. And I have decided within me to live with what comes with my trade. When I'm asked about challenges in the industry or how I got into the industry or how I was able to overcome challenges, I usually would say I have never encountered any challenge. Because for me, I'm a bit spiritual, okay? So I see everything that happens in my path as written. That's how God wants it. At this time, at this day, I'm going to be sitting here with a legend and running this interview. That's the way I see it. So for challenges, most times it's usually financial. You want to do something at a certain time and you don't have the funds to do it. So for me, because I don't exactly take directive from anyone, I plan my projects. When it's time, I run it. So I don't feel pressured by any financial circumstance to do what I want to do. So that's been the mentality from get-go. I want to do this thing when I have the money to do it. And because I started out saving my own money to do projects. I remember in 2004, we brought Alibaba to EliaLand. Mind yourself with Alibaba. I partnered with a friend. Same scenario, I had to borrow money from my girl to balance up for that production. From those experiences, I learned that it's always wiser to save your money and do your thing at the most convenient time. So that would have been the major challenge, financial challenges to run projects. Other than that, I didn't see any other challenge per se. Even my new album, I have the most collaborations ever done by any Nigerian because I can reach out to anybody because of a good relationship. And if the industry is having any issues, it might be a general thing that we're all going through. Distribution, really, piracy. Those are major challenges that everyone is going through. For me, you have to represent the brand you're going to entertain. You have to be them. Most entertainers don't understand that. If you're an ambassador of a brand and you come out to the public and I don't see the brand in you, you and the establishment have failed. When we put on this toga and come to your event, we are you. We speak like you. So first things first for me, I research the brand. I need to know who I'm representing. And then when you now get to the event, first things first, you befriend the audience. The audience needs to know you are one of them. That's the only time they listen to you. That's why you see comedians come on stage and they do some ridiculous things first to warm up the audience, to make the audience like them. So for me, when I come to your function, I become you. Unfortunately, we're in the future where the World Wide Web is helping. Just Google anything and you get information. In a nutshell, let's just thank God that the people I looked up to in the beginning were just family, my dad. Most people would picture their role models as Alibaba and the likes. I didn't know I was going to end up in the line of Alibaba. So I only just watched Alibaba. Then TA was around us in school, you know, my guy. He was doing that, I was just having fun with it at the time. So it was after school that it became professional. So playfully, I was just having fun with it. So I did not exactly see anybody as a role model. But years later, when I had become a bit established, and I needed to now look at some values, I would look at the humility of Alibaba and Two-Face. It humbled me enough to see that as much as they had achieved in life, they were still accessible. That's why till date, anybody can get my number and talk to me. No heirs, no manager. God is my manager. So at some point, I'll look at Davido and Wizkid, and I'm like, what are these young boys doing that makes them hold their audience base in such a way? I look at what this person is doing. So right now, my models are cut across and they span across a large repertoire of people. I have never given up on this. Like I said, I had a good partner who was patient enough and understood where I was going. She saw this before I saw it. She could see that, okay, in the end, if we just followed this path, and as a matter of fact, we didn't want fame. The first time I was told that my episode on Twilight Zone was running, I said, okay, let's go watch it. If at that night she had decided, you're not doing this anymore, I would stop doing it. But we watched it. When we left, I said, how was it? She was like, cool, not bad. So they want me to come again next week. Said, okay, fine, do it. We didn't want to be famous. She liked the fact that I was funny, I was doing my stage things, I was good, I was attentive to her, and all of that was, as long as you can earn an honest living and be a good guy, that was all that mattered. I want to remain that KOFFI guy that played his part in the most humble way and impacted on people in the right direction. That's what I want. What has kept me grounded thus far is that God's grace has been sufficient over time. Not that I'm very good. I have comedians that are funnier than me. I have 13 albums right now, but I have not scored a big hit song like a Davido or Wizkid. Okay, it's just God. He has a purpose for me. I'm purpose driven, and I think that purpose, I'm being real. You know, I don't fake it. I have no filters. I MC on every level, and that's because they see that this guy is real. I don't pretend, I don't fake it, I don't act like a star around anybody, because I believe everybody is a star. When I'm celebrated, I celebrate you back. This is how I got here.